The Mandalorian Season 3 premiere has been very divisive with fans. Some people like it, some people don't. Just like with everything in Star Wars, the fandom is once again debating stuff, which is always fun. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, honestly, it is kind of fun because it's worth a video to talk about because I didn't want to immediately say anything because, I didn't want to just say things off my mind. I want to let emotions kind of carry through my opinion. I want to let things sit. And for me to decide whether the premiere was a good idea to essentially be a giant recap for the Book of Boba Fett. Because in my personal opinion, I don't think it was good storytelling to have the main connection between Din and Grogu being resolved in another show. I get having certain things be resolved in the show. I get, Din getting a new ship. That's fine. Because you don't need to really watch the show then. Because, time passed, new ship makes sense. But when you have two characters who split in one show, then reunite in another, for people who don't watch that show, because Disney Plus is not going to recommend that, it creates this confusion, and the way it was handled I do appreciate. They don't immediately say in the episode, hey, we're doing this and whatnot. Also, I should say there are probably, spoilers. I should have started with that, but it's been a couple days since the premiere. If you really care about The Mandalorian and you're, active online, then you probably have already been spoiled by it already. But as I was saying with that kind of resolution of how Grogu and Din came back together, they did hold it back, and they're yeah, they do explain that through dialogue, which I think it was fine. I didn't particularly think that. I think it should have been shown the flashback, because they do have a recap in the beginning of every episode, and they did show footage from the Book of Boba Fett, so I'm why didn't they just show them reuniting in the recap? I'm guessing they want to hold suspicion and suspense for people who didn't watch that particular show, but that's fine by me. I don't really care. Because if you watch the show, it doesn't really matter. But if you didn't, then it kind of is. But that's kind of one thing. The other thing that people are kind of complaining about that I've been seeing is the introduction of a new villain being the pirates. And people are believing that the pirates are going to be the main antagonists of the season. Or maybe for the rest of the show. I'm just going to assume it's for the season, and I think that's wrong, because we do see TIE fighters in the trailer, and also in the promos on TV, I see commercials. They always start out with TIE fighters, so the Empire is still going to be a villain. It's not completely just a standalone season with pirates. That's not the case. No. The people who think that pirates are going to be the only villains of the show, even though they do look cool, all the pirates, all the alien pirates, they look very cool so far, but they're not the main villain, they're a villain. I would assume for one more episode, when Din gets back to Navarro, he's gonna, the stuff we see in the trailer, it's gonna play out. And yeah, I think maybe 1-2 more episodes of the pirates throughout the season, not next week's episode or whatever, but that's what I think. And because we do see the Empire, like I said, with TIE fighters, so they're probably a important. We see the cloning Doctor Pershing on, I think, Coruscant in the trailer, I believe, or maybe Hazim Prime, one of the two. And so maybe Gideon will, reprise his role, see him again. I think he could be, he is the main villain of the show. I don't think he's going to be locked away in prison for the rest of the show or history. I think he is going to be released from prison. That's what I'm predicting to be the main antagonist once again. Now, do I think that's going to happen? We'll have to see. I don't have inside information. But what I do know is that from just looking at the one episode that we have so far, when recording this, you have the pirates in the Season 3 premiere. They take up quite a bit of time in the episode. They're not the main antagonist, they're antagonist, and they're not going to be this main force that's going to drive the characters forward. They're just gimmick villains. They're going to play some role to kind of strengthen Navarro. That's what I'm assuming. A final thing, people think that the show is not really going to be kind of exploring the greater Star Wars mythos. And I can see why people are saying that because of, one, the pirates. It's going to feel more small scale rather than trying to push the envelope for Star Wars. And each season in The Mandalorian, it kind of pushes the grander story, whether it be with familiar characters or locations, seeing the time after the Empire has fallen. In Season 3 so far, it's not really looked like it's going to be like that, even though it's just one episode. It is. It has to. That's what the show's built on. We're going to see familiar characters again. We're going to go to iconic planets again. And that type of stuff. It's going to happen. Because another thing is with the Ahsoka show that's coming out later this year, you could argue that they're saving all the big important stuff for that series, which they probably are, but I do think there's going to be some stuff for The Mandalorian to cover, because saving anything for one thing does not always work out. It's like, don't save everything up for one thing. The Mandalorian could have the big reveals like it always does, and Ahsoka can have those as well. Why does one show have to be gatekeeping other stuff? The people who are making Ahsoka are the same as The Mandalorian. Dave Filoni knows what he's doing. He wrote 2 episodes of The Mandalorian. They'll probably have characters from his show evolved. That's kind of the tradition of this, whether he created or from George Lucas, who created it. Like, I remember in Season 1 of The Mandalorian, I believe the episode that he wrote, or he directed, that was the episode was Boba Fett was first introduced, or the kind of mystery person at the end of the episode in the 5th episode of Season 1. Then he directed Season 2, Episode 5, which had obviously Ahsoka in it. And even though he is not directing any episode, I believe he wrote 2 episodes for Season 3. I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Because he is directing every episode in the Ahsoka series. So that should be more like the Clone Wars and Rebels. And I'm saying all this because when you look at The Mandalorian so far, people are overreacting. But we'll see. Next week's probably going to be a normal episode. The Season 3 premiere is probably my least favorite of the premieres. Even though it is still a good episode, it's just not, like, really pushing anything. And kind of was just a giant setup in a more obvious way than trying to hide it, like with the Season 2 premiere, but that's all I really have to say on that. I probably will like Season 3, but we have to see. It's only been 1 episode, and I probably shouldn't have even made this video, but like, people are overreacting, and I can only give my 2 cents on it, because I know it's not what I was expecting. I was kind of just dumbfounded when the credits were rolling, because I'm like, is that it? It was just set up for 37 minutes, but whatever, probably get more. It's probably worth waiting for all the episodes to come out, but I'm not that patient. I want to see them when they come out, just like everyone else. But I'm going to end it here. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe. I'm going to go now, so goodbye, everyone.